Dave Cokin turned 70 on January 13th, and we want to celebrate Dave's 70th all week long by offering everyone 7 days of his all-access service for just $70 using coupon code Cokin70 when checking out on a 7-day all-access pass. That's every play in every sport for 7 days, including any 5% releases for just $70, coming out to only $10 a day. Dave is a legend in this business, with many calling him the GOAT. Despite betting and winning in sports since the Black Sox scandal, he could be enjoying one of the best runs of his career since joining WagerTalk. Look at his lifetime numbers since joining the WagerTalk family exclusively. Number 1 in total profit, number 1 in college football, number 1 in golf, number 2 in NHL, and number 4 in MLB. Just like fine wine, Dave Cokin is getting better with age. Happy birthday, Dave, and take advantage of code Cokin70 and get 7 days for only $70.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. He is Teddy Covers, and you're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. Teddy, you won your 5% last night. TCU was not the play. It was Georgia. Around when did you stop sweating?
I'll talk about it in what bettors learned. When I started watching the game, I stopped sweating. It's kind of a funny story. So we'll save it for a few minutes from now. But I'll tell you what, it was a fun look. From my perspective, last night's game is the best type of game you can ever have. You know, I like the blowouts, especially with a big play. I don't want to be interested in the game. I want to be able to turn it off after halftime. On today's show, we have the birthday boy, Dave Cokin. He's going to talk Bills, Dolphins. He's going to talk Flames, Blues in the NHL, and Oklahoma State and Kansas State in college hoops. Andrew Mcinnis is going to join us next. He's going to talk a little UFC, Strickland versus Imavov, as well as an NHL game, the Stars and the Islanders. Andy Lang coming in for the final segment today, a last-minute replacement. We appreciate it, Andy, so much. He's going to talk props for tonight and this weekend. And, of course, my big game breakdown, a little bit of NBA for Tuesday. There's the show, all set to roll, Mr. Prez.
Excellent stuff. And shout out to you, bro. Winning night for the clients as predicted by the Prez. Teddy's run has just begun. I ended the bowl season ridiculous. I went 3-1 last night in the bowl prop bets. 15-5 bowl season. Yes, guy.
Nice. Well
Dave
done.
Cokin joining us. Dave, 2 days away from 70, my friend. It's a privilege to have you.
A lot of going down memory lane. I'm drinking. This is my dad's coffee cup. So this coffee cup is older than most of the people watching the show. It was interesting when the commercial was on to start the show. They showed a picture of me dressed up with some other guys who were looking good. That was Mike Pritchard's Southern Nevada Sports Hall of Fame induction night. And a quick story, but it was a great night. And after the ceremony, we all went out. And Todd Parmalee was, he had some job at the Hard Rock, exec job, so we all went over there. And he says, do you want to go to the club? I don't remember the Old English or some, I don't remember what the club was called. But, so yeah, let's go. So we're comped in, and this is a long line into the club, and we get the VIP treatment. So I'm in there, and this is around 2007, 2008. So I was in my mid-50s. And I'm looking around in the club, and I'm talking with Pritch. And I said, I still remember this like it happened yesterday. I said, I'm the oldest person in here.
Yep.
I knew. I was just looking at I was, and again, that's 15 years ago. I said, I'm clearly the oldest person in here. And that was the last time I went to a club in Las Vegas. It's like I don't belong here anymore. I had my innings.
Dude.
I had my innings, and I had a lot of them. But it's time to let the younger set take over the club. So that was my swan song on Las Vegas nightclubs.
Yeah, well, Dave, mine was way younger than yours. God, I I hate going to those clubs. Anyway, I never did in my life. I never liked.
Oh,
going to them.
I loved them.
I'm not a drinker.
Listen,
I haven't been
you don't
drunk
have to
since
be a
I
drink.
was
You don't have to be a
16.
drinker. You don't have to be the drinker. Let them drink,
Okay,
and then
fair enough.
then find one to take
Well,
home.
Trust me, I did not need to go to clubs. My brother had the best technique in the whole world. He would literally stand outside the clubs at 2 a.m. and just ask the girls if they want to go home one after another until
Mine was better. At the Dunes, they had the Chippendale shows,
Oh yes,
and there was
yes.
a bar. There was a right downstairs from the club. There's a bar, and I mean it was the best pickup spot in the history of pickup spots.
Yeah, no
Because you
doubt.
get these girls coming out of there all oiled up, and they've been drinking, and it was just like picking the litter.
Nice.
Plus, I loved it.
Okay, well, we got to move on, Dave. We got football to talk about, plus some other stuff. You are the $2 Tuesday handicapper. We'll get into that in a bit, but let's start right off the bat with the Miami Buffalo Bills game. Buffalo minus 11 here, Dave. 44 is the total. How you betting this one?
Well, I mean, my lean is the home team. I haven't checked this morning, but it really, with the line where it is, it sounds like Tua is not playing. Okay? If he is, this line's going to come down. Not dramatically. I mean, it'd still be more than a touchdown, but there would be an adjustment. Without him, with him, I don't think they've got much of a chance. Without him, it'd be a huge upset if the Bills did not win this game. That said, I'm a little tempted on it because I don't think they've been as sharp down the stretch as they were earlier. And, I mean, there's been such chaos. We all know why. You wonder if it might have an impact on the team at some point where they might mentally flatten out a bit. But all things being equal, I don't think Miami can play with them. The Dolphins have not been good at all down the stretch. And they were horrible against the Jets last weekend.
Yep.
So one thing Miami did do twice this year is they hung tough with Buffalo, including one at Buffalo in weather. 32-29 in that ball game. The first meeting was 21-19. They both were competitive matchups. I know when it comes to one year to the next, you're not a guy that looks at a whole lot of series history. But when it comes to same season meetings, now this is the third time between these two teams, and the first two were really close. Does that concern you at all, looking at the Buffalo side here?
Not to a great extent, because the Dolphins have fallen way off from where they were. I mean, they were playing some of the best ball in the league in the first half of the season. They aren't remotely close to that now. Now, the difficult spot here is it's still a lot of points. I mean, you got to get this is going to have to be a wipeout to cash the ticket on the favorite, but I think there's a good chance it will be. One thing, though, the weather isn't going to be that bad on Sunday, at least according to the forecast as of now. They're predicting sunny 30s. It's not going to be a spring day, but 30s is no big deal. And the big thing is I don't see a lot of wind, and I don't see any snow. So that's something that the advantage might not be as great for the home team as it could have been.
Dave Cokin joining us, everyone. Dave, I like Miami team total under. I think this team is going to struggle to put points on the board. I would be very surprised if they put up more than 13. If Skylar
Thompson has the quarterback, yeah, I agree.
Dude, listen. Yep.
Go ahead. I was going to say the
Patriots
didn't exactly. They weren't terrible. I mean, that's the other thing to worry about. It was obviously a huge game in New England, but the home team had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns in that game, so it wasn't by any means a wipeout. I don't think the Bills are playing as well now as they were early in the season. That's my biggest worry here. If I were to grade the teams in the AFC right now, Kansas City's the favorite. I'm not sure who the second choice is.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree. I'm with you. I think the Bills will get it done this weekend, but there is something wrong in Buffalo offensively. There's just it doesn't look well oiled, if you will.
I'll tell you what. Look, Josh Allen's a great player, but I think he's trying to be a hero a little too many times. What has he got? 19 picks now? Stop throwing the ball all over the field. You got a really good offense. You don't have to be savior in every play. And I think he's got to rein himself in a little bit.
Yeah. And it's funny, Lawrence, because your description of Buffalo's concerns are very – I think the Bills' biggest problem is that they can't run the football. That's been the issue, is that they don't have the dominant running game, which forces Josh Allen to try to make plays, which has been – and that's been their biggest Achilles heel the last 3 years, is not being able to run the football.
Yeah,
that hasn't what has cost them. That hasn't been what's cost them in the postseason. During that span, they've been able to move the ball up and down the field in the postseason, even without the run.
What I'm hoping for as a bettor is like a 40-point Miami Bills win, so they'll be overvalued the next week.
That they will.
Because I think Cincinnati's better than Buffalo right now. If those teams get together, I think the Bengals are a better team.
Dave, let's move on. Some hockey, a big card tonight. I know you're doing really well in hockey. You want to talk Calgary, St. Louis. Calgary is minus 176 on the road. The total in this game is 6. Where are you going here?
A couple of hockey numbers to show you how good it's been. We've only made 61 plays all season. Plus 33 units. ROI 23%. So it's been really good. This line's climbing. I played it at 160 yesterday. I'd still play it here. The Flames off a game against the Chicago, where they clearly should have won the game and lost in overtime. I like good teams off games like that. So does that dog. He is excited about the
that's selection. Probably Teddy's dog.
The other thing is, when these teams last met, St. Louis wins the game, and that was also a game where the Flames dominated. They've had too many of those games, quite frankly. But St. Louis is shorthanded. No O'Reilly, no Tarasenko. They've stepped up these last few games and played some good hockey without two of their best guys. But the odds makers are telling you what's happening here. Calgary's only 3 points ahead of St. Louis in the standings, and yet they're gigantic favorites on the road. I think with good reason. I expect Calgary to win this game tonight.
I was trying to mute to keep the dogs barking down, but it's just not working because it's my turn to talk now. Let's talk a little college hoops for tonight. Oklahoma State.
What worries me is that an indication that the dog is the right side in the Flames lose game.
Oh, Dave with a joke, everybody.
I'm
man,
worried.
Humor alert. Teddy.
It's just when the doorbell rings and I'm on air, there's nothing I'm going to do about it, unfortunately. That's the truth of it. Let's talk some college hoops for tonight. Oklahoma State and Kansas State. K-State's been on a little bit of a roll right now. They're laying 5.5, total 137.5. What are we going to do with the Wildcats and the Cowboys?
This is a fun situational spot. Where's Kelly? Because she was screaming for 2 years, you got to get Weber out of here. She's obviously the K-State #1 fan. And she was right. They stayed with Weber way too long. Coaching changes had a big impact at Kansas State. They're playing really good ball. Oklahoma State is, again, what we've seen out of Oklahoma State under Boynton. Very good defensively. They suck on offense. They turn them all over way too much. I think Kansas State's the better team at this point. However, and this is where situational analysis comes in, Kansas State is off 3 crazy games, which they all won. And all of a sudden, the Wildcats now find themselves in very tall timber. As far as the ratings are concerned, this is a different kettle of fish for K-State because now the expectations are, hey, you're real good. And the pressure is a little bit different here. I think Oak State's live in this game. I think the line's gotten too high. And I think from a situational standpoint, you go ahead with the dog in this play. Haven't decided whether I'm going to bet it or not. If I do, it's going to be Oak State, and I'm definitely thinking about adding it to my card.
Nice. Dave Cokin. Guys, it's the $2 Tuesday day at WagerTalk.com. We pick our hottest handicapper, not necessarily the hottest all the time, but a guy who's rolling. We make him the $2 Tuesday handicapper. Dave Cokin is the $2 Tuesday one today. He's got a 5% play up in the NFL for the wild card week. He is our all-time leader in profit. He's on a 6-1 run in these 5% plays. And these 5% plays for Dave do not come around very often. Very rare play. It's a big play, and it's only $2. So make sure to head over to Wager Talk and take advantage of that offer. What else, Dave? 19-8, your last 27 football 5% plays. I mean, just really great numbers all around. Go ahead.
This is the first NFL 5 that I've had in 20 months.
Wow.
I don't play these often. I had only 9 or 10 in 2022. So when they show up,
yeah,
they usually get in there. And I expect this one too. So you can get that. There's a bunch of coupon codes that are out there. You can get 7 days for $70. You can get a full year for at a ridiculous savings right now with Cokin 365.
It's all up inside of the $2 Tuesday back end, right?
Yes.
There you go. So guys, when you buy Dave Cokin's $2 Tuesday play, you'll see a whole bunch of promo codes in there. Take advantage, please, Dave. A wonderful birthday week to you, my friend. We love you at Wager Talk. You are an incredible help and mentor to all the youngins. Andrew McInnis dreams about you on a regular basis.
Don't say things like that.
No, it's on Andrew.
No,
it's not
that's
you.
Creepy. That's really creepy.
Call Andrew on the phone and speak
Andrew
to him
will
about
agree
it,
with
dude.
that. Andrew doesn't dream about me, and that's really creepy.
Almost. He had a wet dream 2 days ago, literally, about you.
Andrew
Dave
dreams.
Cokin, get out of here, Dave.
No, wait a minute. Andrew dreams about the KBO run we went on a couple of years ago when there was nothing else going on. Okay? That's
there
it.
You go.
See ya.
Later, Dave Cokin and Teddy. Before we get into what did bettors learn last night, a couple of things in the chat I'd like to talk about. First and foremost, and this is important, Jessica, which we talk about all the time. Hey, Jess. She wants to know if I'm on a losing streak and I see a play worthy of a 5%, do I play it or hold it back because I'm on a losing streak? So I can only speak on behalf of me, Jessica. I don't take my streaks into account at all. When there's a 5% play, there's a 5% play. I put it out no matter what, whether I'm winning or losing. If it hits the criteria, so be it. And also, I find sometimes in the middle of a losing streak, you love a play, you put it out, it wins, and that could propel you to a nice September to December run. Teddy, it looks like you're of the same opinion.
Yeah, I mean, a 5% play is a 5% play. All right, it grades out that way or it doesn't. It's not whether you're winning or whether you're losing. Now, if you're running good, you may put out a couple more. And if you're running bad, you're probably going to make sure it checks every single box before you release a 5% play. Yeah. But it's not a situation where if you're struggling and something jumps off the page at you and it checks all the boxes that you're not going to release it as a 5%er. You will, I will. Hopefully all the Wager Talker Sports Memo handicappers will. It's the play, not the run, that merits the 5% designation.
100%. RJ Arsenault, another person who logs in every single day. RJ, we love having you. Great comments. He writes, Cokin is the only guest Prez won't cut off. What? I cut him off 3 times today alone. I actually think I cut Dave Cokin off more than anybody else. And it's largely because, Teddy, two reasons. One, I'm a narcissist and like to cut people off. But the second reason is Dave leaves big gaps when he speaks. I don't know if you notice, but I never know when Dave is finished with his thought. So, yeah, RJ, you're wrong. I cut him off all the time. I wear it like a badge of honor. Teddy, it's the $5 promo over at Sports Memo. We speak about this every Tuesday. We have the $2 Tuesday at WagerTalk, the $5 Tuesday at Sports Memo. 3 handicappers, $5. Today it is the Gold Sheet, Buster Sports, and King Creo. You get all 3 of their plays for only $5 over at Sports Memo. Brother, what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting?
Well, last night was a night that's supposed to look like that, all right? Georgia, obviously, is the 5% big ticket last night, and that was the way a big ticket's supposed to look. Easy. But I'm getting so old now, it's starting to remind me of other championship games. The one last night reminded me a lot of Oklahoma, USC. I think it was after the 2003 season. The Trojans were a force, and the Big 12 team was not. And I loaded up on Pete Carroll's squad that night. I bet him at -3. I bet him at -2. I bet him at -1. I bet him at Pick'em. That's as much money as I had in a college football game that I can ever remember. Though last night wasn't far off. I kept on buying more Georgia. That being said, I was coaching youth basketball back in 2003 or 2004, and I had to miss the first quarter. By the time I met my buddies at the bar, it was midway through the second quarter. And I got there, and the game was over. Relax. The exact same thing happened last night. I had something to do. I ran into a little thing. I ended up missing the first quarter of the game. I got over to my buddy's place. He was having a little party. The score was 24-7 already, and it was just getting started. I got in, looked at the scoreboard. Good. It's going to be on the right side of those, especially with the 5% big tickets, Lawrence. Makes you feel a whole lot better. Hopefully you got on board. If you had TCU last night, there's a lesson to be learned. Don't take it. The lesson learned is class matters when it comes to the biggest postseason games. Remember that for next time you see a situation like this. That's what I learned last night, Prez. Enjoyed it thoroughly in a game I really didn't watch that closely.
Teddy, I had Stetson over in pass yards. They went up too fast, and I was like, oh, God, they're going to pull him. Oh, God, they're going to pull him. He got it done on the second last throw before they pulled him. I was like, phew. That one was a little bit of a sweat. Bam Golf writes, Prez, what was your go-to pickup line back in the day? Bam. It wasn't a line. Let me show you. That was it. I just needed to stand there. Andrew McGinnis, I wish, you know what, Andrew, come on. What Andrew, dude, I listen, I'm not 6'7" or whatever the hell height you are, where I walk around and I'm like, I'm 6'7". Have you seen my, okay. How are you, Andrew?
You don't think I have game? I don't just use my height. I've got game. You don't think I have game?
I don't think you need game, dude. You have a hose.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I have a sports betting related question.
You're 6'7". How tall are you, dude?
6'5" I have a sports betting related question to ask Teddy and you as well, Prez, if I can. And it's not that serious, but I'm curious. You talked about how happy. First of all, congratulations on that win, Teddy. If you were on the other end of it, is that how you'd like to lose? You know what I mean? Talk about how nice it is to win like that.
Turn it off. Be done.
Yes.
I would rather be wrong, okay, and say, all right, I was wrong, than to sit there and be right for 59.5 minutes and lose in some excruciating fashion that takes years off my life. Every gray hair I have is from some beat like that. You know,
my opinion,
you click it on, you click it off. Much right.
I'm so with you, Teddy. It's like, if you're going to lose, just lose. And I actually find, and this is the craziest thing, Andrew, I find I take the loss better when I'm just stone cold wrong.
Sure.
Right?
You're like, you write it off early, as opposed to thinking you're going to win it, feeling good about it, and then, oh, what the, you know?
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people in the
personally,
comments.
Personally, I would rather that too. But then if I have people that paid me which I do, then I'd want them to be like, at least he was like almost right. You know what I mean? Like it looks better on us if we're like down to the wire, you know. But I'll tell you one thing I do, guys. I will always suffer through. If I have a 5% in an NHL game, we go down 4-0 in the first period, I will watch every minute of that game.
Of course.
Like that's how I am. Like I almost like that's like my punishment to myself. Like, you dumbass, that was a horrible pick. Like, you have to watch the whole game, you know? It's kind of how I punish myself.
Listen, I do the same, although I don't watch it on the main TV. I watch it on the secondary TV. Finished Wednesday last night, everybody. It was awesome. Andrew, let's get into, you got 2 picks for us, 1 hockey, 1 UFC. The Dallas Stars versus the New York Islanders. You want to discuss that game? Dallas is minus 115, a total of 5.5. You don't see those a lot. I look to bet them over normally, but man, with Sorokin and net, if he's playing tonight, I wouldn't go anywhere near the over. What do you like in this game?
Well, I like the over. Look,
hey, you're doing better than me in NHL, so the over it is.
Look, usually these 5.5s are low for a reason. And, you know, well, actually 5.5s have actually gone more towards the under this year so far. But guys, first and foremost, for anybody out there watching the Falls hockey very closely, I'll just say this. I'm disappointed in myself for not making enough money on the Dallas Stars this year, or at least betting overs with them or team totals. This is a very talented team with a very respectable record. They're putting up, like, I think close to like 3.55, 3.6 goals per game. They're playing as a team. They've got lots of guys contributing to the score sheet. Here's the deal here. A lot of people talk about fading a team off a road trip. I think that only applies if they're off a good road trip. The Islanders are home here, and they have not played very well recently. They've lost 3 of the last 4 games. And in those 3 games that they lost, they've allowed at least 4 goals. One of them, they allowed 6 goals. That one of them they allowed. They scored 6 goals against Vancouver, and all 3 of the other games that they lost by 4 goals. And I think that this Dallas team, they can get into track meets. You know, they're not the dead nut under team they used to be. The Islanders also aren't that defensive club they used to be, as I just mentioned. They give up goals. They have a great goaltender. I simply do not trust them, but I'll tell you what, guys, they're going to be desperate. They're going to want to give effort, and it's their first game back at home in front of a home crowd here. I expect kind of a sloppy game, so I'm going to go over 5.5. It's a rare 5.5 total, and I actually would lean towards the home teams. I do think it's an important game here for the Islanders, but I'd rather just stick towards the goals here, so I'll take the over, guys.
Look at the over in NHL action for tonight. Let's talk a little UFC for Saturday night right here in Las Vegas, UFC Apex. We've got Sean Strickland versus Nasruddin Imavov. What are we going to do with this fight? I've seen mostly like pick'em prices out there. Imavov, a slight favorite. How do you break this fight down Saturday night UFC?
Well, Teddy, you know, it's so cool how UFC fighters will jump in. You know, if there's a cancellation or somebody has to drop out due to injury and things, a guy will jump in and say, I'm ready. I'm that guy. I'm always ready to go anytime, anywhere. I'll fight you. That's what Sean Strickland is doing right here, guys, in this fight. He was actually the last main event of 2022. Now he's going to be on the first main event of 2023. That's pretty impressive, you know. And you take a look at Sean Strickland. What he does is apply pressure, consistency. His output is unmatched. And honestly, if this was a 3-round fight, I might be looking at Imavov. But at a 5-round fight, the pressure we can see Strickland put forward, the fact of the matter is I don't think this one will get to the ground, especially if Strickland can keep this one on the feet. I don't think Imavov is really a good matchup here. And I worry about his gas tank. You know, we've got Andy Lang coming on here in a few minutes. Him and I talk about this stuff all the time. Certain fighters that just tire out, you know, after 1 or 2 rounds, you can see them just getting fatigued. I think Strickland gets better as fights go on. And I think he gets that instant opportunity to kind of get his swagger back, to get his confidence back. He just lost a real tight one to a decision just a month ago. And now he gets a chance to go right back in the win column and have a big victory over Imavov. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. UFC is back. I'm on a 12-5 run. I was number 2 with UFC best bets at WagerTalk in 2022. I know I'm mostly known for NHL at the website, but I do multiple sports, and looking forward to this weekend.
Andrew, you are awesome. Great work, man. Awesome hair day, too, by the way. I'm jealous. We love having you on. Thanks for coming on, Teddy. We do not have a commercial break because Lawrence went off topic 700 times. Big game breakdown time. Let's go.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And look, when the show runs long, we skip the commercials. We don't skip the content. That's the way we do it on WagerTalk Today. Let's talk Suns versus Warriors tonight in San Francisco. Right now, look at the WagerTalk live odds screen. I'm seeing the Warriors. Let's call them minus 11.5 total, 229.5. This is a client play for me. We're going to look at the under in this matchup. Look, Phoenix can't score right now. All right, Chris Paul's banged up. They don't have Devin Booker. They don't have the backup point guard campaign. I mean, it's been really dicey offensively. They've gone under 5 straight games. They scored 98, 96, 88, 83, and 104 in those contests. No Booker, no offense. I'm not laying a big price with Golden State, not in Steph Curry's best first game back off injury. That's amateur hour. You know, it's likely to take a couple of games for them to get back into rhythm. We saw that in their last game when they brought Wiggins and Iguodala back for the first time in months. And the offense was out of sync throughout. Now you got Curry coming back as well. Remember, they got beat up by Orlando at home and scored, 101 in that ballgame. And by the way, Iguodala and Wiggins combined for, 12 points in that contest. Wiggins just a little rusty out there. I know it's going to take a little time. I'll be good. We don't trust Golden State's offense. We don't trust Phoenix's offense. 229.5? Warriors are playing defense. They're 5-2 to the under on this endless homestand. And oh, by the way, Phoenix hung 130 and 134 on Golden State in 2 early season meetings, both double-digit wins at home. I think the Warriors will remember that. This is an under game. No Ayton rim protection is a concern if he doesn't play for Phoenix, but I like the Suns team total under. I like the full game under. 229.5. Suns and the Warriors. Do not expect a high-flying shootout. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, El Presidente.
So professional, Teddy. I mean, that was just well done, man. I don't know. I'm snotty today.
You're working with a pro, man. You're amateur hour over there. You're working with a pro. What are you going to do?
Of course I'm working with a pro, dude.
I'll raise your game, Lawrence. It's okay.
Dude, listen, you bring the best out in me, Teddy. You know, you do. Andy Lang, I don't know if red is your color, Andy.
Most people say red is my color.
Yeah, that's because your face is always red.
It's the screen. My face isn't this color.
Oh,
nobody's faces on these videos are the actual color of their face.
Exactly.
Teddy, I've seen Teddy in person. His face is not that color.
He's freaking translucent in person. Like seeing Teddy in and of itself is hard. I mean, you literally see right through the guy. Teddy and the sun do not get along. That's for sure. Anyway, Andy, thanks for joining. Oh, come on, dude. You're the whitest guy ever, man.
You're kidding,
and I
right?
mean that. What?
It's not.
You and I have the same skin tone, dude, if you haven't noticed ever.
We do not.
We most certainly do.
My skin is silky smooth olive.
Exactly. So's mine, buddy.
Okay. Fair. Maybe it's just looking at you with the lights shining on your face every single day.
Ding, ding, ding.
Andy, you had literally no notice coming on this show, so I appreciate you doing this with us, and you'll still be on Friday. Let's get straight to it, dude. You got a golf prop, an NBA prop, and an NFL prop. Roll through them, my brother.
Okay, yeah, golf off to a great start. Had our first tournament of the year last weekend, plus 5.5 units. So very, very excited. And we've got the Sony Open over in Hawaii. I'm going to take a new golfer. A lot of people outside of the golfing world have not heard of this guy. His name is Tom Kim. He's only 20 years old, and he has burst on to the golf scene. This guy is elite, and I'm going to take him over Jordan Spieth for the full tournament at the Sony Open. He's 3-0 head-to-head in the fall and in one tournament in 2023 against Spieth. And over the last 6 months, this guy is number one in total strokes gained in this field, and he's number one in strokes gained tee to green. That's a very important stat for this course. He ranks above Jordan Spieth in every main category in strokes gained. And last week, they both played in the Tournament of Champions, and I watched that entire tournament, and Tom Kim was just fantastic. He finished 3 shots of Jordan Spieth. They were mostly head-to-head, but this is the first time he had played that course. He put on an absolute clinic and ended up beating Jordan Spieth head-to-head. Spieth has not played this particular tournament in several years. The last time he did, he missed the cut in 2019. We see this all the time in all sports, but in particular golf. When you have a guy who is just playing fantastic and he's on a roll, you can get a month, 2 months, maybe even 3 months of head-to-head wins before the books catch up. Tom Kim is one of the hottest golfers on tour. Jordan Spieth is not, so I'll take Tom Kim over Jordan Spieth at the Sony Open. For the NBA Cavaliers, I like them over the team total of 114.5. It's a little bit high, but they get a great matchup tonight. Now, the Cavaliers, they have not gone over this total in 3 straight games. One of those games was without Donovan Mitchell. One of the others was just an easy blowout win over shorthanded Phoenix where they scored 112. They get just a great matchup tonight against Utah. Utah's lost 8 of 9. They've given up over this point total in 6 out of 7. Cleveland's on a road trip, but they are off of a day's rest, so fatigue shouldn't be an issue. Over the last 10 games, Utah is the 4th worst defensive team in the league. Cleveland doesn't play with a lot of pace, but they're efficient. And Kelly Olynyk is out tonight. So that's a big body in the paint that is not going to be there for Utah. So expect the bigs of Cleveland to have a good game. And also Donovan Mitchell had that 71-point game. The next 2 games, predictably after that, a little bit of a letdown, 20 and 22. He's due for getting back to his 26, 27, and 28-point games. It wouldn't surprise me if he had a big game. But I like Cleveland as a team to get over 114.5. And then NFL, I actually just found this one. There's a play on some of the books. You can play Christian McCaffrey to score plus the 49ers to win. It's kind of like a same game parlay, but it's under the props section. So we take out the first game that Christian McCaffrey played with the 49ers in a limited role. He's played 10 games with the 49ers, and he has 10 touchdowns in those games. 4 games ago, these 2 teams played. McCaffrey rushed for 108 yards and a touchdown against Seattle. Andy had 6 catches, so he's very involved in the offense, very effective. And I think the game script goes, if the 49ers are going to win, they're going to use McCaffrey. If they get up, they're going to use McCaffrey. I just don't see a game script to where McCaffrey's not an integral part of the offense. And as far as the 49ers win, I think Seattle stinks. I don't think they're very good. I thought they stumbled down the stretch. Their last 3 quarterbacks that they've beaten are John Wolford, an injured Mike White, and Baker Mayfield. They've lost to all the other ones since mid-November. So they have not put on a very good display. I don't think their defense is very good. They were a little bit lucky to win that game last week. I think this is a pretty solid 49ers win. If the 49ers win, I think McCaffrey gets a score. That one's at minus 115, so you're getting a very, very fair price. So those are 3 plays I got for you guys today.
And that McCaffrey prop makes a ton of sense to this better. It's a way to get at San Francisco without laying a big price. I want to talk about the Cavs team total because you mentioned they haven't gone over the total in any of their last 3. And this is one of those scenarios where, like, Cleveland plays slow. Cleveland wants slower scoring games. Cleveland's a defensive-minded squad. And Utah's kind of the exact opposite, where, you look at the last 10 games for the Jazz and everyone's scoring 114 plus against them. When you have this situation where one team wants to play slow and one team doesn't, how do you determine who's going to control pace there when it comes to your team total bets?
Well, it's tough. I lean towards the higher pace teams. I think if the slower pace of Cleveland is going to win out, it's probably going to be in the second half. But at home, Utah just comes out and they use a little bit of the shot clock, certainly not all of it. So I lean more towards the faster pace teams. And just because Cleveland doesn't play with a lot of pace doesn't mean that they can't. That game against Phoenix, that was a slow pace game. They still put up 112. Even though Phoenix was just super shorthanded. So, make no mistake, guys like Donovan Mitchell and LeVert and those guys, they can absolutely keep up with the pace. And Teddy, Jordan Clarkson's going to come out firing away. Markkanen's going to come out firing away. Noah Olynyk, which I think is one of the bigger reasons why I'm taking this. It's just a bigger body. He normally plays about 25 to 30 minutes a game. That just opens up the paint a lot more. I see a lot of paths to Cleveland getting a lot of points tonight.
Andy Lang joining us. Andy, anything to promote, my friend? What shows you're doing, et cetera, et cetera?
Tea Time for Vegas is today at 5:30. Myself and Nick Borman, he hit a 5% play last week. I went 3-1, so that's off and running. UFC plays is up. I thought Andrew did a good job. Andrew left out one. Did he talk about the motorcycle accident with Sean Strickland? Sean Strickland just got in a motorcycle accident, and he's taking this fight on short notice. And there's rumors going around that he's taking this fight so he can buy a new motorcycle, which I think is just fantastic. That a guy would jump in so he could buy a new motorcycle that he wrecked in offer. This is Sean Strickland's second major motorcycle accident. The guy's a better fighter than he is a rider. UFC show is going to be tomorrow. Myself, Matt Wallace, and Kyle Anthony inside the distance. But golf show tonight, and of course NFL playoffs. So we'll have all of our props coming up for you this weekend.
Andy, we got another minute with you because it looks like we're not going to get to 100 likes. So anything jump out at you in wild card week as far as an ATS bet goes?
I'm looking at some of these, and I went back and looked at last year, and a lot of the favorites really dominated some of the wild card games, and I think we could see something pretty similar to this. The game that I was a little bit cautious about was the Cincinnati and Ravens game, and I'm Lamar Jackson's coming back. Boy, there just seems to be a lot of dissent with Baltimore. They're not on the same page. So I was a little worried about Cincinnati winning that game, but now I'm kind of all in on Cincinnati. They're minus 6.5. They're below a touchdown. They're at home. Baltimore has absolutely no wide receivers, and if Lamar is still injured or is not happy, I think that could be a good one. I would grab it now before the 7. But I know there's square plays, but a couple of these teasers look look really good. Cincinnati on a teaser. I believe in San Francisco. I think Seattle stinks. So I think there's a couple teasers. I know there's square plays, which is why I'm a little nervous about playing them. But I went back and looked at last year, and a lot of the favorites covered. I went back and looked at last year, and a lot of the favorites covered. A lot of teasers would have won. So, what do they say? Sometimes the squares don't always lose. So Cincinnati would be the one that I've changed my opinion on.
Andy, you could go back 30 years. Wild card week is blowout week. It's never changed. You have, teams with that's how I look at it, Teddy. Dude, we got 100 likes.
That's the way it used to be 20 years ago. That has, if you look at the last 10 years, the last 5 years, you've been expecting blowouts in round 1. Not quite as I don't have the numbers in front of me, but the double-digit chalk's been really good in the wild card round. But the mid-range favorites, not so much.
Yeah. So before I was so rudely interrupted,
I didn't interrupt you. All I did was make faces. You threw to me.
That's what I know. That's what I was going to point out on blowout week. Is what I was going to say is the Super Bowl contenders, if you will, like the San Frans, when they're playing that team that sneaks in. We see that every year, and look, it doesn't happen all the time, but those are usually your blowout games. Guys, we did get to 100 likes, so I do owe you a presidential address. Andy, thank you, my brother. We love you. You're the bomb. Dan, cue it up, and let's get out of here. Okay, everybody, real quick, I got 3 hockey plays for you, but I do want to make mention it is $2 Tuesday. Dave Cokin is the $2 Tuesday handicapper. He has a 5% play up at WagerTalk. It's only $2. I have had 28 basketball totals this season. 28 basketball totals. I've won 22 of them. I have a 4% college basketball total go up tonight. I have an NBA play up tonight. My NBA run is ridiculous right now, 19-8. And I have 2 bonus NHL plays. You can get it all over at WagerTalk. As for your bets for tonight, I like the over in the Buffalo-Seattle game. I like Vancouver as the dog of the day, plus 164. And I like the Winnipeg Jets at minus 132. Teddy, my brother, take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Tuesday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, you back east. Between now and then, you guys know what to do. Enjoy the games, and best of luck with all your wagers.
Dave Cokin turned 70 on January 13th, and we want to celebrate Dave's 70th all week long by offering everyone 7 days of his all-access service for just $70 using coupon code Cokin70 when checking out on a 7-day all-access pass. That's every play in every sport for 7 days, including any 5% releases for just $70, coming out to only $10 a day. Dave is a legend in this business, with many calling him the GOAT. Despite betting and winning in sports since the Black Sox scandal, he could be enjoying one of the best runs of his career since joining WagerTalk. Look at his lifetime numbers since joining the WagerTalk family exclusively. Number 1 in total profit, number 1 in college football, number 1 in golf, number 2 in NHL, and number 4 in MLB. Just like fine wine, Dave Cokin is getting better with age. Happy birthday, Dave, and take advantage of code Cokin70 and get 7 days for only $70.